Welcome everybody to the July 14th workshop meeting. Before we go into the special meeting, we have a little bit of business that we need to do.
Right there.
There it is. We have Daniel McBain from McBain Insurance providing the property and liability coverage for the village. Our upcoming renewal is in August, I believe.
Yep.
In the month.
Good to go?
Good to go.
All right. Thank you, Council and Mayor. As the Mayor said, I'm Dan McBain from McBain Insurance. Just as a reminder, our agency has been privileged to service your property and casualty for many years, long time before myself. We're an independent agency, and our job is to keep you in what we believe is the broadest coverage for the best price. And so we have several municipal markets. We continue to believe that the best place for you is the public entities pool, as with many of our municipalities. As a reminder, a pool, which it's estimated between 75 and 80% of municipalities nationwide are involved in some type of pool, joins your buying power together through other like-kinded entities. So public entities pool is specific to the state of Ohio. They insure over 600 entities, villages, municipalities, and cities within the state, as well as they have a cousin pool for townships. You may be familiar with our TARMA. So, I'm just going to walk through this renewal to give you a little bit of landscape of the insurance market. I've said this the last few years, and it's not just a pony dance, but it is a very, very difficult insurance market. Any agent you talk to who's telling you different is not telling you the truth. It's been difficult for several years. That's driven by a couple of factors. The cost of claims, so the natural and economic inflation that we've experienced in the country. The increase in weather weather patterns has been really catastrophic. Last year, the state of Ohio set the record for the number of tornadoes in the state by the middle of May in a calendar year, and then continued going. So that gives you a little bit of context there, as well as something called social inflation, which is really specific more to the insurance market in that claims are paying higher values because of things like third-party litigation funding. So they actually have third parties funding lawsuits, and the investors get paybacks, things that maybe we think shouldn't be legal. But those types of things are affecting the insurance market because claim payouts are higher because of those types of situations. So just to give you a little bit of context, I'm going to walk through this renewal with you. First page, you can see the endorsements that PEP has, and they're strongly thought of by many different organizations. The second page, the 2025 PEP update, just a few things. If you would look at the fact that the fourth bullet point there, the grant will continue. So every year PEP offers a $1,000 safety grant to every municipality that they insure. It's about the easiest grant format you'll ever fill out. Gets you $1,000 back. As well as, actually the point above that, you'll see that one thing that they've done the last couple of years to offset price increases is offered a loyalty credit. That will not continue this year. That has to do with just the stability of the insurance market. While people don't want to see prices go up, people do want to see a stable insurance carrier, and sometimes prices have to go up in order to remain stable. PEP totes its long-term stability. They have a lot of money in the bank, but that's what makes it comfortable to be insured with a pool. Questions there? Great. So moving on to the main coverage page. This is the liability sections. So just briefly, I'll touch on each of the highlights here. You've traditionally carried $4 million per occurrence of liability. General liability, you can see it spelled out there. This is for bodily injury, property damage that the village might be found negligent or at fault for outside of your immunity. Secondly, automobile claims, again, $4 million of liability. Neither of those carry a deductible. Legal liability for law enforcement, that is exactly what it sounds like. Within a general liability policy, there's an exclusion for intentional acts. That's what law enforcement liability picks up, is because they might hurt someone for an intentional act. General liability is not going to cover that, but the law enforcement liability will cover that with a $2,500 deductible. Public officials' wrongful acts, that is coverage for each of you public servants serving in your capacity, whatever it might be, for the village. It protects you and your assets, $4 million with a $2,500 deductible. And then finally, employment practices liability, which is any type of wrongful tort within the workplace: hiring, firing, wrongful termination, EEOC complaints, sexual harassment in the workplace, any of those types of allegations or claims. And just a reminder, it only takes an allegation to start to maybe have to have a defense on your behalf. It doesn't mean that something actually happened. Any questions there? Great. Moving on to the property page, you'll see the blanket total insured values. So that is the total, that $23,500,000, that is the total of your building and content values together. You are insured on a true blanket, which is the best way that you can insure a schedule of property with multiple locations. If you are underinsured in one location and that location were to burn down and you don't have enough insurance to rebuild that, you can borrow from the other locations. Oftentimes a blanket includes a margin clause which limits how much you can borrow from that other location. There is no margin clause. It is a true 100% blanket. It is the best way to do it. Covered on replacement cost for both contents and building. $1,000 deductible. Those values have been inflated from last year, and that is driving some of the price increase. So that's up about $1 million from last year. Moving down that page, you've always chosen to carry both $1 million of flood and earthquake. So those are both mentioned there. Those do carry higher deductibles. That's very standard for those lines of coverage to carry at least 25. Usually 50,000 is more common, to be honest, or a percentage of the coverage. Below that, you'll have crime coverage. Crime is theft of money. So we talk about crime coverage when we talk about cyber liability coverage. Cyber is theft of information that you're liable for. Crime is theft of your first-party money, and it falls into different buckets. It can fall into employee theft. It can fall into a computer fraud claim. For all of those, you have $100,000 of coverage with a $1,000 deductible. We've talked about increasing that in the past, and you've always declined. If that's ever an interest, we can obviously quote that. And then within the crime coverage, something that has been unique that we've done the last couple of years and definitely will continue to do is the faithful performance of duty for both Courtney and Mayor Chris is covered here instead of under a bond. This better protects them as individuals, and it is the way that we go. We have a large book of public school districts. They have all chosen to do that. We have a decent book of municipalities, and we have urged everyone away from bonds because bonds can be executed back against the individuals, where the crime insurance protects both the village and the individuals if they were to make a mistake. Questions there?
I have one question.
Yes.
On the cyber security, we have $100,000 and $1,000 deductible, and we've kept that way. Does your company have any recommendations on how villages should handle their cyber security?
So
we want to make sure, Daniel, that this is pretty much what we can afford, but we want to make sure that we're doing the right things for this amount of coverage as far as our cyber security.
Sure. So there's a difference between cyber and crime. So the $100,000 is crime. So that's actual theft of your money. And so that's where we talk about, and yes, there's a little bit of a gray line between cyber and crime because there can be cyber crime. So some of those thefts of your money could happen electronically. My personal recommendation is always to think about your exposure and think about, I'm not privy to the type of money that you might carry in accounts and balances and things like that, or what backups the bank may have if there were some type of event like this. Oftentimes the bank has coverage built in. So those are questions that are important to answer when reflecting on that question. The larger the exposure, the larger you might want to consider coverage. I remember, don't quote me on this, I feel like we quoted $250,000 in the past, and it was about an additional $1,000. That's my rough memory. However, the further answer to that question, if you go to the next page, and we'll just work from the bottom up, is your cyber liability. And
Cyber liability's on page 4.
so that's your actual protection for your biggest risk as a municipality. Cyber liability is very expensive for municipalities, especially of your size, because you have a decent amount of taxpayer information and usually not very many, if any, staff members working IT. And so it's known as one of the, you're the demolition contractor of general liability, because there's usually a lot of information that's easy to get. And so what PEP provides is very good. It's $1 million of coverage. It's a $10,000 deductible. Cyber deductibles are always high. That's probably the lowest you're going to see as a municipality. And to get something different than this would be very costly. I would be surprised if you were paying less than $8 to $10 grand for another $1 million of coverage. So just to put that out there. And what this does is this protects you from your liability to these people if you were to have a claim and have their information breached and hacked, and you have to, if there's any settlement involved, if there's notification costs involved, if there's PR that you have to go through to kind of save face, all of those things are built into a cyber policy.
Okay. A follow-up question about this cybersecurity. If we have a third-party billing agency, should we require them to have cyber insurance for their company? If we hire them to do, for instance, fire and EMS billing collection or income tax collection, should we require them to have so much cybersecurity as part of the contract with that third party?
Are they retaining personal identifiable information of your citizens, or your information? So that's where the question is who has access and is in control of that information. So if you're allowing them to have access to that information that is yours to protect, then yes. If not, then I don't know that it's necessary.
Okay.
The other thing I will mention is that, since you're getting a little bit deep into the cyber, is that you may be familiar with requesting, if you hire someone to do some work for the village, you're going to request them to be additional insured on their policy.
Yeah, we do that.
The additional insured, that type of action doesn't exist in the cyber world. So it's more of a verification that they have it through a COI or a declaration page. Then you're not going to get an additional insured. It just doesn't work that way.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Okay. The auto we already touched on. The only thing that I'll point out here that's a detail is the physical damage there in the middle. That's just the value of your vehicle fleet, which is about the same as last year. So if you flip to the final page there, this is the pricing. So this is about a 10% premium increase. So it's important to differentiate between premium and actual exposure and rate. About 4% of that was the values, and about 6% was rate increase, which, to be honest, I know for a small village, I'm sure 10% is a lot to swallow. A 6% rate increase is pretty mild for what I'm used to telling people right now. So I am pleased with that. It will probably feel like a little bit more because I am comparing that 10% to what your actual true premium was last year, not less the loyalty credit, which you won't get this year. And most of this is really property driven. That's where most of the increase is. And then at the bottom, you'll see PEP always just takes the opportunity to let you be aware that if you wanted to purchase more liability, what that cost would be. You've been content with the $4 million, which I think is fine, but I just wanted to point it out. And that is about it. The rest is the grant application and the contact information. Any other questions that I can answer?
I'll throw you a softball here. What would that adjusted annual rate be if we took the building coverages from $1,000 deductible to $2,500?
Without quoting it, I don't know. My experience in most commercial property is that you need to go to at least 5 before you start to see a difference that's worth it. Yeah. and kind of, and if that's something you want to entertain, I'm happy to, and we can even do kind of an analysis of past claims of let's look at the frequency here and see, because you're gonna pay $4,000 more the first time you have a claim. Is that worth it given the frequency? And maybe it is. A lot of times it is.
How much can we save over 5 years and not have a claim?
Exactly. So if that's something you want me to look into, you just let me know, and we can have that
I
price
think
before the renewal.
it'd be one, just so we
Just an
have an
adjustment to
idea.
the computer, isn't it?
Their computers, not mine. Yes, sir. But yeah, I can absolutely have that priced out. And that's about it.
Any questions, council?
Great. Thank you both. Thank you all. Appreciate it
Thank
very
you.
much, and continue to appreciate your business.
Be waiting to hear back from you on that.
You got it.
So that's a good question, Mary, you brought up about that. 'Cause I know it makes a difference in our car insurance, so surely it has to make.
Oh, it'll make a
in billing.
difference, absolutely. And more and more, I will tell you this, more and more commercial entities are doing this. I have a decent-sized university that we insure that they traditionally have always had a $10,000 deductible. We looked at it this year, and they raised it to 50. Just because looking at the frequency, it just didn't make sense anymore. And it saved them a good bit of cash. So, absolutely. We'll quote some options. I'll send them over to you, Lacey, and then you can kind of let me know what's best.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
Thank
All
you.
right.
You don't
All
have a
right.
safe trip
Thank you all.
home.
Appreciate it.
Where do you have?
The Beaumont, yeah,
Beaumont does.
about every year, but, yeah. The Beaumont's a frequent flyer and,
We're gonna have to climb in barriers now. All right. Anything else? What do you want to do, the permit talk? Okay. All right. All right, please stand and join and renew the pledge of allegiance to the flag of the country. Our special meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Hampton.
Here.
Mr. Locke.
Yes.
Mr. Loomis.
Here.
Mr. Redfern.
Here.
Ms. Smith. Here.
Stack of applications. First, before we go to motion to executive session and discuss all these, anybody that wants to speak, meet council for the first time, introduce yourselves. Anyone? No? No takers?
I'll be honest.
We have you.
We have you.
So my name's Brandon. I applied back in the fire department. My kids are older. I think I'll have time to make runs now. So,
Good.
and new people. I've worked with in the past. So it's been a while. So
It's been a minute.
roll up. All right, you go. Come on.
I'm Kenny Wood Jr. Just recently got out of rehab, trying to take my life around. I got a step on to be a part of the village. I'd be happy to further some of my community help and join the fire department. And if you take that into consideration, I live in town. I help out as much as I can on the village side, so if I could be a part of the fire department helping on that side too, it'd be great. Thank you.
My name's Clay Wilson. So the reason that I applied for EMT, a little over a week ago, there was a call over to Kaylin Street, and from what I know, it took about 45 minutes for a crew to get there, and then it ended up being Newton that showed up. From what I know, someone that lived in the house had to do CPR on the 29-year-old male that was having trouble breathing until someone got there. And the fact that it took them almost an hour to get there made me want to apply so I can make a difference for them. So.
Thank you.
You started class yet?
I start August 14th.
For a couple of them, Mayor, they're either at work or can't be here, but I know with Zach's, keep in mind that he brought in over $100,000 in free money last year for Roseville, and he wants to come here and do the same thing, so.
Anybody else? Any motion to go to executive session? One more?
My name is Jody Burgraff. I have been in the medical field since I was 18. I currently just turned 31. Last year in April, I got kicked by a patient. I've been dealing with a lot of health issues. So not only being in the medical field did I learn a lot of medical knowledge, but on top of medical stuff that I've learned, it's nice to know that there's other people out there that's dealing with the same thing that I am. So I feel like, with some of that being said, I feel like I could attribute to what I'm dealing with. Also, I just recently moved here from Asheville. This is originally my hometown, and I would love to be able to serve for the fire department.
What's the name again?
Jody Burgraff. No, my heart's in my ass.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I just got off work and I didn't expect to be here, or I would have been a lot more presentable. I've been working in healthcare since 2014, and I just really want to try to make a difference, and I thought this would be a good way to happen.
Thank you. Anybody else? The motion to go to executive session for the Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1 personnel. Roll call.
Mr. Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Locke. Mr. Loomis.
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes. We're out of executive session. Okay. I'll do these applications in seconds. Need a motion to hire Amber Newland, Chad Locke, Lynn Dalrymple, Heather Muller, Steven Skeens, Michael Bell, Michaela Kowalski, and Zach Kaler as part-time EMS and fire.
So moved.
Okay. Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Locke.
Yes.
Mr. Loomis.
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
The fire only pile. Need a motion to approve Brandon Forrester, Brandon DeLong, Austin Glanman. Are you certified?
No.
I had to ask that first. Okay, Brandon Forrester, Brandon DeLong, Josh Grannon, Dominic Fletcher, Mike Cochran, to the fire only side.
Motion. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Locke.
Yes.
Mr. Loomis.
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
For the record, anybody that man wants to hire and that man wants to hire, I'm a yes vote. So
Nash, you've got fire down and you're starting EMT school August 14th, but your address is 35 Kensington Avenue in Zanesville. Is that correct?
Yes.
You resigned from the department here a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
You're out of the service area to make a fire run. Council's got an issue with that. If you're starting EMS school, do you want to do pending certification on EMS?
Yeah. Pending certification.
Pending certification. Motion on that. Second. Roll call.
Mr. Hampton,
Yes.
Mr. Locke,
Yes.
Mr. Loomis,
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Three more that had marked both for fire and EMS, but you live out of the jurisdiction. Creed and Tierra Milner. Current address 7715 Old River Road.
Yeah.
That's Philo.
Chris.
Are you fire certified?
Yeah.
You can make fire runs if you're here on EMS runs. Do you have gear?
At one point we did. We were both kicked off, so I'm not for certain anymore.
That's what I was going to let Chris know. Some of them mark both that live outside because of that reason. So
Before we were kicked off, we were on the fire department because we did event. We at one point lived in Brigger.
Yeah, you lived over on Keystone Street, correct?
Yep.
And you had gear at that time?
yeah.
It's cold here.
It's probably still down there.
He got held over at work, so he wasn't making it. Cool.
Yeah.
What's council's? on those
Daryl,
three?
you want them there for EMS or fire
What's-
run to go on a fire run?
Well, I mean, if they're
You're
dual
going
carded,
up for the truck.
yeah, if they're dual carded and we get a fire run, I mean, there's no sense leaving a fire truck set and sending an ambulance. I mean,
Correct.
yeah.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Second. It's for those three. Creed Miller, Tierra Miller, and Colt Glenn. Roll call.
Mr. Hampton,
Yes.
Mr. Locke,
Yes.
Mr. Loomis,
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Pending getting certified and having background checks done for fire only is Austin Glenman.
That is.
That's all I can see. Well, wait on, maybe. Oh. I posted in the file was not totally correct. Okay, fire only, pending background checks and certification. Kenneth Wood Jr., Lee Wolf, and Austin Glanman. Fire only.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Hampton,
Yes.
Mr. Locke,
Yes.
Mr. Loomis.
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Hey guys, also I'm not certified anymore. My card was expired, so I gotta go back to the 36-hour school.
Now you're back in the pending certification pot.
Sorry, just want to be honest.
Him and Brandon belong both.
Okay.
Yeah, my car expired.
And he was next. For pending background checks and certification for EMS only, Clay Wilson, Robin DeLong, Jody Berggraf.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Locke.
Yes.
Mr. Loomis.
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
You need to get to that.
And then Brandon.
Another thing is, I think we actually have to be on department to get into the schooling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a 36-hour free class right around the horn there.
Yeah.
How long? Good.
And I just did Austin's background for the job at the sheriff's office. I can give it to Darrell.
Okay.
So just to clarify, Chris, they're on pending background checks and then get them into class, correct?
And certification.
Yeah, that's what I mean, the class,
Yes.
so, yeah, okay.
Okay, and three more for pending verifications and certifications for both fire and EMS. Kristen Culp, Stephanie Durkis, and Anissa Evelyn.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Locke.
Yes.
Mr. Loomis.
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
EMS only. Jasmine, are you still certified?
Yes.
EMS only certified Jasmine White.
You have to redo a background check, or you good there?
Have you done a background check, Jasmine?
Do have one through Checker, if you know what that is. Like, I signed up for Amazon Flex and they did my background, so I do have that. If not, I can go get the actual ECI done.
Say, I got the checker one on my phone, but I couldn't print it off, so, but that's why I told her a little bit ago, it'd probably be BCI.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which the checker one was okay, so the BCI one was
Pending
good.
background check.
Okay. Pending background check, BCI. Roll call.
Mr. Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Locke.
Yes.
Mr. Loomis.
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Is everybody there?
Hey, can I bring up something with, on Nash's? I see what you're saying about the distance, but he was down here, like, he would just come and hang out, and he made, if you go back to the runs, he made quite a bit of runs, so something to kind of think about maybe for next meeting or something. So,
Well, he falls in the same category as a couple of the other ones that we're talking about.
well, his is his distance, because he's already certified on the fire.
It's 10 miles away.
Yeah. Just something to think about for the next meeting, kind of brainstorm, because he did do a lot of runs for us.
Anything else? Need a motion to adjourn.
Wait,
Wait.
we have that official, oh,
This is
okay.
We have to be
I
out of
take that
special
back.
meeting.
Don't wait, just approve it. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Locke.
Yes.
Mr. Loomis.
Yes.
Mr. Redfern.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Now,
Now.
sorry, I'd like the unofficial approval for a demo permit at 18 and 18 and a half North Buckeye. We wanted to get it on last week. They were missing some of the documentation we needed. They're looking to get this done pretty quickly, so, the documents should all be there. The guys have signed off on it.
House. It
Yes.
is 18 and 18 and a half North Buckeye Street. It's the duplex. The next door neighbor at 20 North Buckeye Street bought it. And he's going to have a demoed copy of the deeds in it looks like the utilities have been checked and signed off on the temporary disconnect on the water and sewer. Has been advised on proper steps to go through it. So, is there anything else that's due?
I don't believe so.
Make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Can't make
All
the
the paperwork there.
We can't make the
Farm
motion.
workshop.
Just
Just trying to
The unofficial.
Unofficial, yeah.
Unofficially. Getting a week ahead of the game.
Okay.
I'll have it on next week.
I'm okay with it. I'll come next week.
I don't.
I have one thing I want everybody to understand about the fire and EMS levies. There's been some confusion on what's going on. We did check into it today, and there's several steps you must understand that we have to go through to have a levy passed. Okay? And that is, first, you have to have a first resolution, it's called, where the township trustees or the village has to agree that there's a need, let's say. The next thing we have to request from the auditor is what millage we feel that we need to bring in to add on to the tax, how much money is that going to bring in? So the auditor gives us that auditor certificate. Then once we have that, we can decide either it's too much or not enough or less. We have to lower it depending on what your expectations are. Then there'll be a second resolution that's required that we send to the Board of Elections for requiring the levy that we'd like to put on, stating, what it is, how much the millage is going to be, when the election's going to be held, and then there'll be some fees involved when that's decided. Then there has to be a legal notice posted about that election, what's going to be on the ballot. Whether that's at a special election, a general election, or the primary election. There has to be a legal notice posted. Now, Chief Wallace, the former chief, had brought before council two documents requesting 1.5 mil fire and EMS service levy, one for Bearfield Township and one for Harrison Township. The Harrison Township paperwork has gone through the first resolution, the auditor's certificate, and tomorrow evening they're meeting to determine the second resolution which is required for the levy, which they will send to the Board of Elections. Fire and EMS chiefs and village representative will be at that meeting. That's for Harrison Township. Bearfield Township, I spoke to one of their trustees today, and while Chief Wallace had been there, he expressed what he would like to have them put on the ballot. They did not pass yet the first resolution or any of the auditor certificate or the second resolution, so that will not be on the ballot this coming November election. Now, pending what happens tomorrow night, if the township trustees at Harrison Township pass the second resolution, which I look for them to do, there will be a levy on the ballot for Harrison Township coming November, if all the other paperwork and the legal notices goes through the proper channels. So that looks positive. Is it needed? That's a big question. The levies for Harrison Township is a former fire chief, former mayor, and now city councilman. I will tell you, those levies are 20, 30, 40 years old, and while the increase in the millage has not went up, the expenses have. So I will say that we do need the levies. We need them back. We need to keep up, and It costs us very expensive. If you didn't hear the total of our insurance for the village, it's over $70,000 a year we have to pay for insurance for our vehicles, our buildings, and and your personal PPE and the fire and EMS vehicles and all. So it's quite expensive. And also the cyber liability insurance is expensive. We have that. So I ask, before you can want to leave, some of you have to go, that please understand there's a process. And Chief Dalrymple and Chief Doolin is going to lead your department and see this becomes a successful endeavor so the fire department can survive. And I ask for the public and for your support as new and former members and back to work members of our fire and EMS. I want to thank you, and we're going to make it happen. Thanks for all your assistance that you've given thus far to the village. That's all I got to say. I just want to make sure you understand this process. It's quite lengthy, and you can't put a levy on the ballot overnight. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have to say about it. And you each have a copy explaining, and the checklist is on the other side.
Got anything, Mike? Anything else?
That's a 5, right?